Good morning, everyone. Today is Monday, November 27th, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. We are looking at a November that has been electric in terms of its motion. We have an OPEC meeting where the Saudis are going to announce that they are curbing output, which is great because they're almost at maximum anyway, but that's another story. And we see these higher lows coming in from a weekly formation, but the lower highs are still in play, and the Keltner channel is still quite negative. From a daily perspective, we can see that there is a shift in motion, but though we are not at the bottom of the Keltner channel, we are still in a negative trend. My supposition is that the bounces are still going to fade in oil for a variety of reasons, but this is what I'm seeing at this juncture right now. Levels to watch: pullbacks are buy zones, so we're looking at 73.50 being a floor, possibly into 73.75, and then my expectation is that sellers are going to show up at the top of this range. I'm not really sure who's caught in here. There are a lot of people who are very negative, right? We're in contango, and although that means that prices are more expensive in the future, that's a bearish tone for the chart. Really complex. Used to always think it was a bullish tone, and frankly, how oil is moving right now is a bit squirrely. But there are a lot of people that are very keen on watching this move back to the upside, and I suspect it will. But we've got this downward pressure event here, and so my thought is anywhere up into the 78.60 region. If it begins to fade, you've got yourself a short. If it holds, there's a long into 80. All right, that's my thought there. Let's go to the XOP. That's the ETF, and let's see how that goes. Sorry about this overhead noise, folks. I asked them to turn it down, but they've got clients at the door. At the desk, excuse me. So XOP fading a little bit. I think we're in a sideways pattern. We'll see, right? But I do expect us to hold these regions. The bounce should come up into this area. That's why we've got this short iron condor sitting there. Pullbacks likely to be buy zones. We looked at 136, but that's been penetrated fairly steadily, and so we're making lower lows here, and we just fell off this ledge, so we're going to have to be careful about watching this, make sure it holds the level. But you can see traders trying to buy the dip here in general. Let's go to SPY. Whoops. SPY. All right. Okay, so if we take a look at SPY, here's the range, right? We've got ourselves a wide-angle view of somewhere between 455 and 460 as the top end of our range, right? And the bottom end, if we're taking a look at the monthly, it's all the way down there, right? 409. So there's literally a 50-point range, right? And it maps to the 500-point range that we're seeing in the ES. And so let's take a look. This is where we ended the week, almost at the top of the range. This morning, we are at 454.96, so we're pretty close to the top of this range. Notice, where does buying pressure come? It comes from underneath. Pullbacks are still buy zones, folks. You don't want to short this until you see that first support ledge break. Now, this is a daily formation, so the support ledge could be as tight as, let's borrow this one. It could be as tight as right here. 450, 430, right? But once it loses that edge, it's got to come down here and lose 451, or buyers are going to come in and take over, right? So you've got to watch for this. The dips are buy zones. Look at how tight this Keltner channel is. And this is a daily formation, right? If we get to the 4 hour, the channel shifts a little, but not very much at all. And still very, very bullish. Pullbacks or buy zones, heavy congestion, 452. Write these numbers down. They're going to matter today. Top of the Keltner channel, 458. I don't really see expansion to the upside unless the sellers try to press hard and they get stuffed. All right? And that is going to be the thing that I would expect to see here. If indeed that happens, where is this real number? Maybe here, 453, right? Somewhere around there, and then this, I like it better up there myself, 451.70. Okay, so those are the levels that we want to watch for really the entire week. We might have some things down at 450, but in general, all of this area, we could add another one. Let's do it if it's tight. I see very choppy trading over the next couple of days. Traders have got a lot to decide on. 4 hour chart giving us some good places to make some trades. Let's take a look at the ES. Okay, taking a look at the ES, take a look. We've got literally 46.30 all the way down to 41.20. That's 500 points of motion between the bottom of 1 month candle and the top of another, right? And those are the edges that we're going to watch for in general. That's really the range of this particular formation. It blew out of this area. My thought is that it should come back, retest the zone, and then move forward. If it accelerates to the north, it's going to be a blow off top. The charts do not like to just jam themselves straight up. They like to digest motion. And by charts, of course, I mean people. So if we're taking a look at these ledges, 4609, 4609.50, somewhere around there. Where are we? Are we above the close of the prior week? The answer is no, we're not. The close of the prior week is up here at 45.68.75 or something like that. 25, excuse me. So we are just underneath it, right? Just underneath it. That's that close. Who's in charge when we are above the close? Buyers. Who's in charge when we're below the close? Sellers, but only when they're looking for support. Once they find the support, the buyers are going to take over. And so far, the buyers are saying, hey, 45.53 to 45.52 is going to be that floor, right? And so we're going to look for that today. We're going to look for sideways action, maybe 45.52 holds and we get to buy, but then maybe it loses the level and it slips back here. I would say pick a side to trade on. We've got a very messy formation. It's got generally bullish pressure on the monthly and the weekly and the daily, but it's in the middle of the channel. It's not on the edges of these Keltner channels where we see big motion. So this is a likely very sideways chop. Pullbacks are going to be buy zones. Watch for them to fail to get to the top of this 45.75, 45.76. That area could give you a nice short from sideways action. If it doesn't immediately fail, it's going to go all the way up to 45.80 and then potentially 45.90. That's what you're going to be looking for. All right. My thought is this is a sideways Keltner channel, so we are going to see sideways price action, and diddling in the middle, you don't want to do it. All right, let's take a look at the cues. Wow, I have no idea how long I've been talking. All right, same thing here. We've got ourselves, whoa, tech is holding its rally, certainly. We've got 402 from the top of this range, the lowest of the highs. 409 is the highest of these highs, 409-ish, right? And then for the last few months, it's just broken out over the top of these areas. So, we are looking at breakaway patterns in general that are really moving up off of the top of the range. That is a monster candle, folks. It is a monstrous candle. 340 all the way to 389. It's huge. We spent 3 weeks going to the top. This is a break. Do I think they press higher towards the edge of the Keltner? Quite possibly. This is a different formation. It's very, very bullish. Pullbacks are clearly buy zones in this environment. Let's take a look at the numbers that we want to see. We closed the week at 389.51. We are just below it at 389.37, right? We've made higher highs still making higher lows. So what is the storyboard? Pullbacks or buy zones. 387 to 386, support ledge. 383, better support ledge. If it breaks, it's going to bounce, folks. If it breaks and it breaks deeper, it's going to bounce. So step to the side and wait for it to prove out where it's going to go. If you're going to go long, I would say, hey, listen, until support breaks, bounces, and gives us a lower high on the formation, we should be thinking about going long on every pullback, right? You can see these pullbacks getting bought, and they're getting bought with a fair bit of abandon. Now, last week, big moves, not so big moves, depending on which day you were looking at, but the volume is really tapered off. You're going to have to watch liquidity. Not really here, but in general, I think that is a little bit of a trouble spot. All right, now we take a look at the NQ. Look at this, off the edge, really almost coming into the close of the prior month. It's doing really fantastically well. This one's holding up so nicely. The close was 16,021. We're just below 16,006. This is the congestion level, 16,071. The double topping formation looks like it's going to be 16,112. Bottoming formation, remember this line is the highest volume space, so notice it's still holding the floor. So as long as it holds the floor, you buy the bounce, but if it keeps making lower highs, something's going to give. It doesn't mean that it's going to break down. It's got to break out over the edges and continue forward. My thought is dips or buy zones here. Ideal buy points in my mind, somewhere around this open of last week to the close of the week before last. All right, that's it for me, folks. I will see you on the platforms. Take care.